So, okay. Okay, now we should be good to go. Okay, here we go. Let's do it. That's exactly what it's supposed to be, except for that. Okay, there we go. All right. Am I muted? Okay, guys, sorry for the late start. Had some trouble getting Facebook in particular to let me show my live, so we're just now getting started. I apologize for that. We're a few minutes late. But welcome to Ready, Set, Edit, YouTube editing as easy as a dad joke. I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me, so bear with me just a moment. Sometimes the audio doesn't come through. Okay, Debbie says she can hear me. Awesome. That's what I wanted to know. Okay, here we go. Let's jump in. Okay, so first of all, Debbie already did it because she knows this is my jam. But the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to comment hashtag live or hashtag replay. I'm actually going to go ahead and switch my camera so that we're a little closer, so this feels a little more intimate and you can actually read my signs. There we go. Hashtag live or hashtag replay. Tell me whether you're watching live or catching the replay. Oh, Debbie says it sounds like there's two streams going at once. I think that might be because I was listening to it to make sure that there was audio. Let me know if the audio still sounds weird, Debbie, and that way I know. But so give me a hashtag live, hashtag replay. Let me know if you're joining now, if you're catching this later. Facebook has changed how they're doing their videos. And if you're watching on another platform, this isn't an issue. But on Facebook, these videos are only available for like 2 weeks. So you have to catch this now, or you'll have to wait until I do it again. So if you're just seeing that this is here, you're going to want to make sure that you do it and that you get that opportunity right now. Now, have you ever thought to yourself, YouTube editing could be as simple as laughing at your dad's classic joke? Why did the bicycle fall over? Well, it was too tired. right? Okay, so probably not. Any of you who have actually tried YouTube editing, you're probably like, Elise, this is difficult. This is hard. This is not the easiest thing to do. But today I want to tell you exactly what's required for you to have really great editing for your YouTube videos or your videos that you're using anywhere else. Now, to be clear, we are talking about videos, not shorts, because all of this that I'm about to go over is not required for shorts. Shorts are put it together, put it out there, go. Videos on YouTube are meant for search, and that's what we're going to be leaning into today. And you don't have to be a comedian to be able to make this happen, but I like the idea of adding a little twist to everything I do. So I'm going to be telling you some funny dad jokes as we go through. Who is on board with that? Who wants to have some ridiculous dad jokes? Type a me in the chat. All right, so today, what are we doing? We are cracking the code to quick, effective, and let's be honest, fun video editing. I'm going to show you that it's not about fancy software, but about the techniques that you use. So you can use any software you want. In the description of this video, there is a link to the software that I recommend, which is Transcript, but it doesn't matter what software you use. I'm not going to be talking about software today, but that's the question I always get when I do this training. So it's already there in the description of this video. Go click on it if you want to see what I do. There's also some tutorials about how I recommend using Transcript, especially if you're just getting started with video editing. But today is about what you should be doing with the video editing, not how you should do it. So you're going to go to those resources to get that information, but today we're going to talk about what you should be doing. If you're just jumping in, okay, she's saying that two streams are playing over top of each other. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that you guys can hear me well. And that's not playing. Not playing. Okay, well, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the audio. Let me see if I can hear it. That's not playing. Okay, so I'm listening to the audio and it sounds like it's okay. So Debbie, it might be you. Okay, so once again, if you're just joining us, give me a hashtag live, hashtag replay. Let me know that you are catching us and when. And just a quick reminder, we are only going to be able to access this video for about 2 weeks because of Facebook. If you're going on another platform, you're cool. It'll stay up and you can watch it there. So if you're on Facebook and that's where you normally see me, go to YouTube and watch it there if you miss it within the 2 weeks. Okay, so one of the very first questions that I like to ask, aside from if you're joining me live or if you're catching the replay, is are you a current or future YouTuber? And the reason I like to ask this question is because it tells me who's here. Also, I like to point out there's only two options. There are only two types of people. You are either a current or you are a future YouTuber. There's no people that are not YouTubers, in my opinion. So drop if you're a current or future YouTuber and let me know where you are at. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Elise Michelle Nelson. I am a YouTube strategist and the owner of My Schedule Biz, and I help you use video to create visibility and generate leads for your business so that you can be present on camera and stop wasting your time on other stuff. Now, I've personally published over 1,000 videos on YouTube, and I have been making money for over 3 years on my business YouTube channel. I have also helped thousands of owners create more sales and build visibility using video marketing on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. But I like to specialize in YouTube because it works. So we're talking about video, but this is, I'm trying to get you geared towards YouTube because that's going to be the thing that's going to keep your business growing. Not just today, not just tomorrow, not a week from now, not a month from now, but for years. I've also worked with other brands with tens of thousands of followers with my done-for-you YouTube management services and video editing. And I do all of these things because I fully believe that you can support your family. You should be able to travel, and I want you to be able to take a nap whenever you want. I think that's really important. I want you to have the freedom that you're looking for. So basically, in a nutshell, I help with the full video strategy for do-it-yourselfers and for those who want it done for them. I'm your girl. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we are going to cover the 9 keys. That's right, you heard 9. The 9 keys to editing your videos. So stick with me so you get them all so you know exactly what to do when you go to edit. I'm going to, of course, give you some freebies. Those should all be linked in the description there of this video. And then finally, I'm going to give you a chance to ask your questions. So as we're going through this, I will try and keep an eye on the platforms and see if we've got questions coming in. And hopefully I can answer them as we go, but if not, at the very end, I will come back and I'll answer your questions. So as you have questions, drop them in the chat. If you are watching me somewhere other than Facebook, I'm mostly going to be watching my Facebook chat. And there's a link in the description of this video wherever you are to go to that Facebook group so you can ask your questions. If you ask it on another platform, I will respond on the platform, but it's probably not going to be part of the video. All right, one last time. Comment if you are joining us live, hashtag live, or catching the replay, hashtag replay. And before I jump in, I have just one final question for all of the future YouTubers in the room. So remember, there's only two options. You're either a current or you're a future YouTuber. And if you are a future YouTuber, the question that I have for you is, when will you start your YouTube channel? Because we all know that someday never comes. And if you're waiting for someday, you will never see your YouTube dreams become a reality. More importantly, you will never have a place where your audience is finding you on repeat for the life of your business. So if you're telling yourself that someday you'll have a YouTube channel, you are holding yourself back. You are hiding your talents and keeping them a secret from the world. And you are not helping your clients, or at least not as many of them as you could be. So what I ask is that during this video, you think about this idea, and I want you to consider stepping out and declaring that you are a YouTuber and that you're going to start your journey today. Because I can tell you from all the analytics and all the data that I've seen over the years, YouTube is the place where you find success. Now, who's ready to get started? If you're ready to get started, drop a me in the chat. Debbie says she is a current YouTuber. All right, so the very first thing I said we were going to cover is the 9 keys to video editing. Let's go ahead and jump into that. Let me get my sign. So again, we are here on Ready, Set, Edit, making YouTube editing as easy as a dad joke. And the very first thing that we are going to be talking about is keywords. Now, I know I just recently did a video about keywords, talking all about how to use keywords on YouTube, exactly where to put them, how to find them, the whole 9 yards. And if you missed that, you better go watch it now because it's been, I think, about 2 weeks. So it might be dropping off on Facebook, or you can go catch it on the lives on YouTube. But I'm not going to jump into that too much, but I want to just make sure you guys understand this is an essential key to editing your videos. I know it doesn't sound like editing, but I promise you it is. So what are keywords? Keywords are the search phrases that your audience uses to look for videos just like yours. YouTube also listens for them in your transcription and in your video. So they need to be found before you record. And this is going to help YouTube identify your content, which will improve your visibility, which will make it easier for you viewers to tell what your video is about, and it's going to help you improve click-through rate. Because if you know what you're trying to deliver on, the keywords, then you can make sure you deliver on them in your video. And that's it about keywords. They might seem like they're small, but they can be really powerful when it comes to getting your video in front of the right eyes. They are the secret sauce to getting your videos say what they're about and get you discovered on YouTube's platform. So that's why, even though it doesn't sound like editing, it really is, because these need to be in your videos. So if you agree with me and you're like, Elise, I get it, keywords are important, I promise I'll look into it, it's something I'm going to do, I want you to drop a 1 in the chat. And if you're like, Elise, why are we talking about keywords? You already did a video on that, and I'm ready to learn about editing. I want you to drop a 2 in the chat. And that's just so that I kind of know where you guys are sitting at. If you have further explanations about your 1 or 2 vote, you can drop those as well. But otherwise, we're going to move on to the second key to editing your videos. Again, we're not talking about shorts, and that is your 10-second hook. Now, I've said 10-second hook here, but the reality is your hook really should be as short as possible. So if you can do it in 5 seconds, do it in 5 seconds. Debbie says 2. She's not interested in talking about keywords. I love you to death, Debbie. So your hook, I said 10 seconds, but really that's like the absolute maximum should be 10 seconds. We're looking for shorter than that. And the hook is going to tell them what they will watch in the video. You need to mention an attention grabber, something that is going to get them to stick around, and that is going to actually increase your watch time, because as anyone that's really in YouTube knows, your viewers are going to drop off significantly in the first 30 seconds. And so when we're talking about our hook, that's going to be one of the things that's going to keep them lingering on so that they can actually learn what it is that you're going to say. And this doesn't have to be flashy or sensational. It just needs to be engaging and promise value to your audience. So this might be humor, intrigue, a question, or a surprising fact. This hook is going to set the stage for an effective YouTube video. And what does this have to do with video editing? Well, When you do your editing, you want to make sure your hook is at the beginning of your video. Sometimes if you've done reshoots or you weren't quite sure how to start, you need to make sure the hook is first. This comes before you tell them who you are. We'll get to that in just a moment. Now, speaking of hooks, what social media platform does Captain Hook hate? TikTok. All right. If you are like, Elise, thank you so much for reminding me about hooks and that I need to make sure that when I'm editing, there is a hook at the very beginning of my video, I want you to drop a 3 in the chat. If you're like, Elise, I don't think hooks are important and we don't need to make sure that they're there and they certainly have nothing to do with video editing, I want you to drop a 4 in the chat. All right, so we're gonna move on to the third key to editing your videos. Again, not shorts, and that is your intro. And I just sort of alluded to it a moment ago. I've got a big hint for you here. I'm gonna really drive it home. I do not want to see your introduction at the beginning of your video. This is something that was done 10 years ago on YouTube and it is no longer relevant. You have to have a hook first. And your introduction should be way shorter than your hook. Your introduction needs to clearly communicate who you are, as short and sweet as possible. So for example, I might say, I'm Elise Michelle Nelson. I'm a YouTube business strategist and lead generator, which means that I help you use video to create visibility and generate leads for your business. Short and sweet, done. You know what I do. The goal of your introduction is to tell people who you are so that they know if they want to stick around for the content that you're delivering. It is not to ramble so long that they leave your video. Now, when we're talking about editing, these are the keys to what should be in your video. So we've got our hook, we've got our intro. These need to be edited well so that they are short and succinct. Depending upon how good you are at doing them, this may require some editing skills, right? So if you're like, Elise, I get it. Got to have an introduction. I need to tell them who I am and what I do. I want you to drop a 5 in the chat. If you're like, nope, this ain't something that I need to worry about, I want you to drop a 6 in the chat. All right, so here is where we start to get into the actual editing, the things that you do once the video is done and recorded. And the very first one here, so this is number 4 in our 9 keys, is pattern interrupts. So these are visual effects and graphics. And what they do is they help hold attention. They address short attention spans and make sure that we are constantly changing what the viewer is looking at. When you're talking about pattern interrupts, you really want to have these every 8 to 12 seconds. And this is going to help to get them to tune in because the video is interesting and will hold their attention. In other words, this increases your watch time. Now, I want to talk about this in a lot of detail because I want to make sure you understand what this means. If you are adding a pattern interrupt every 8 to 12 seconds, that means in a 12-minute video, which is the average length of a video on YouTube, you would have 60 edits. So this is a big ask. Now, I have a video that walks you through how to do this in Transcript, but it also is going to help you understand more about what exactly a pattern interrupt is. Again, the link is in the description of this video. I highly recommend you take a look at that. But basically what a pattern interrupt is it's making the screen look different. It can even be making the audio sound different. So this might be like a little jingle, like that you put before something happens. It also is a little thing popping up on the screen or me holding up a sign. This is disrupting what you're looking at, me moving my hands. We're going to go into a little more detail about what they could be. But essentially, the idea is to make what they're looking at, to make what they're hearing change so they don't get bored. So they kind of go, oh, wait, what's happening? So here's how you can do this. So we're talking about editing, but one of the things that most people miss is that sometimes you can add things during recording so that editing is faster. So let's talk about that first. Things that you can do during recording is you can hold up props. For example, when I held up the money earlier. You can record in two different places, so maybe use your phone and your computer, and then when you edit it, layer those into each other and switch them out. So all you're doing is changing the camera angle, and that has everything to do with doing it while you're recording. You can zoom in and out, and that could be as simple as you say a line and then you get closer, or you say a line and you get farther away. You can use hand gestures, as I mentioned before. Another type of prop is a sign. Taking the sign and making it close. This is completely resetting your visual eye, or even just holding it up on the screen is also adding something new to change what you're looking at. So all of these things are types of editing that you can do while you're recording to limit the amount of time that you have to spend on actual editing after you're done recording. So what about in the actual editing? So you're using Transcript or whatever your favorite video editor is, what can you do? So again, we can zoom in and out. We can do cuts. So this is where you take two pieces of video and you put them together in different ways. There's things like hard cuts, jump cuts. You can just look up different video editing cuts to get ideas of how to do these. Excuse me. You can add stickers or GIFs. You can add B-roll. B-roll is essentially video that you source from somewhere else that isn't the talking part of the video. You can add text and you can add transitions. Transitions are like where you have like a wipe that changes from one scene to another. Basically, what you want to do is you want to think about your video like a good meal. You do not want every single bite to be exactly the same. You want there to be some variety, some changing. And that's what you need to do so that you can keep your viewer engaged with a visual feast. Speaking of food, do you want to hear a joke about pizza? Never mind, it's too cheesy. All right, so if you're like, Elise, I get it. Pattern interrupts can be super powerful. I understand that they help me hold attention and get people to watch longer. I want you to drop a 7 in the chat. If you're like, Elise, I don't agree with you. I don't think that you have to do this, and this is why. I want you to drop an 8 in the chat, and I want you to tell me why you don't think this is important. And we're going to go ahead and move on to number 5, which is summaries and highlights. So this is a key to editing your video. These are a visual recap in the actual video or text that is seen on the screen. So you are actually putting this up on the screen so that people know. And this is an opportunity to discuss the content of your video and to reinforce the material and make sure that your audience actually understands it by just putting text on the screen that summarizes everything you've said. And then you can tell them to take a screenshot, and they'll now have a screenshot of you with that text for them to remember it. And it's going to not only improve memorability, it's going to increase the likelihood of repeat viewers and increase subscribers because they're going to know you were the one who told them that. All right. So if you're like, Elise, I get what summaries are and I understand how powerful they can be, I want you to drop a 9 in the chat. And if you are like, Elise, I don't think summaries are all that important. It's not something that I need to use or I'm going to use. I want you to drop a 10 in the chat. Sorry. All right, Debbie's with us. She says 7 on the last one. So we've got a 9 or a 10. I got it 9. I don't got it 10 for summaries and highlights. I really need to take a drink of water, man. I keep coughing. All right, so we are moving on to number 6, which is engaging call to actions. So a call to action, or a CTA, as listed here, is a key to editing your video because you might have too many, you might not have enough. All of these things are things that you need to catch in editing. A call to action is directly showing, asking, or telling viewers to do something. And this it results in increased engagement, increased subscribers, increased followers, depending on what platform you're on, increased email list. All of those things are things that you're going to grab from your call to action. So it's really important that you are making sure that your call to actions in editing grab attention. So this can be adding those pattern interrupts. This is, of course, making sure you actually record a call to action. And when we talk about call to actions, there are a few things you need to know. In a 10-minute video or longer, you're probably going to want to include 1 to 2 what I call hard call to actions and 2 to 3 what I call soft call to actions. And so let's talk about what those are. A hard call to action takes them off of the platform that they're currently on. So these are usually going to be best in the intro and in the closing. This is going to be something like sign up, make a purchase, join my email list. All of these require them to go somewhere else. And then the 2 to 3 soft call to actions are going to be spaced throughout the video. And then on YouTube, they will be on the end screen. So this is going to be things like liking, subscribing or following, sharing, watching another video or a playlist, and or commenting. All of these are on the platform, and these are what I call soft call to actions. So call to actions are your next step. They are an important part of your editing because if you get rid of them, then you don't have your call to actions. Things like the end screen, which comes at the end of the video, is going to be something you have to add in when you're doing a video editing. So this is an editing feature. And if you're talking about YouTube, not using an end screen, no, that is not a good idea. You should 100% always put an end screen on your videos when you're posting them on YouTube because it is an opportunity for your viewers to easily see a place to click and watch the next video, a place to click and watch the next playlist, a place to click and subscribe. And that is very important. So call to actions are part of your editing, and it's something you need to make sure you use, specifically in the outro. Now, speaking of call to actions, make sure you stick all the way until the end, because I have some amazing freebies to help you get started on your YouTube channel. And I'm actually really excited. This is the very first time I'm giving you an opportunity to get a hold of my custom GPT that will help you find a topic, write the script using everything that I teach my clients, and record and schedule in 2 hours-ish. Which for those of you who are making videos, 2 hours for that, especially when you get started, is pretty awesome. To come with no idea of what to do and then have a done video in 2 hours is great. So let's go back to what we were talking about, and that is our call to actions. So if you're like, Elise, I understand having an engaging call to action, making sure I'm using my outro as a call to action is super, super important, and it is definitely part of editing. I want you to drop an 11 in the chat. If you're like, Elise, I don't think having an engaging call to action has anything to do with video editing, or if you don't think it's important to have a call to action, drop a 12 in the chat and tell me why. All right, we are working on our 9 keys to editing your videos. Again, not shorts. And we are already to number 7. Who's ready to get through the last couple here? So number 7 is captions or your transcript. Now, depending on where you're talking about this, what platform you're talking about it on, they're going to use different terminology. Captions and transcript can be synonymous. Same thing for subtitles. So I'm going to kind of give you my version of what these are as we go. So the text version that can be seen on the screen. So when there's like actually text showing up across the screen of the spoken part of the video, this is typically going to be called captions, but not always. YouTube actually will auto-generate these, and it's called closed captioning, and it'll automatically show up. Facebook is doing this now as well, and some of the other platforms do too. But you can also on YouTube upload your captions if you have captions from your video editor, and then it'll replace the ones that it would auto-generate. You can also embed captions and subtitles into your videos so the viewer has to see them. So what I'm talking about right now is the ones that are, you turn it on or off, closed captioning, right? But then there's also where you can actually make it so that it's stuck there. It's actually part of your video. And that's usually going to be called subtitles or captions. Again, it kind of depends on what platform you're on. And this is where it cannot be turned off. It cannot be removed. Typically, this is not something you're doing on videos. That's usually something you're going to do on a short. But occasionally, I do see people that do it on a video. So again, how you use captions, subtitles, transcripts is going to vary from platform to platform and what type of video you're posting. But the purpose of these, in case you're wondering, is to improve understanding and increase watch time. So you're giving them 2 ways to consume your content: visual and audio. They can read the script, they can read the transcript, and they can hear you. And this is going to make it easier for them to follow along, because as we all know, there are auditory learners, there are visual learners, there's all these different things. It's also going to let them consume your content with no sound, which is going to increase watch time, because inevitably there will be people trying to watch your videos that do not have the ability to listen to audio. Maybe they're sitting on the toilet, or they're waiting in line, or whatever the case may be. But you want to make sure that you're giving them that option, because you're more likely to keep viewers if you have more ways to consume your content. And then finally, this actually helps with language barriers. So if English is a second language for someone, being able to see it and hear it can really help them take in what you're talking about, or if whatever language you're speaking in is a second language, or maybe they don't speak it at all. So basically, adding captions and subtitles is going to ensure that everyone can enjoy your content. And this is really important for those who want to watch you in silence while pretending to work, right? So speaking of work, what sign should be above every entrepreneur's computer? Carpe diem. Hey, I said that these were dad jokes. That doesn't mean they're the greatest jokes in the world. So if you're with me and you're like, Elise, I understand captions and transcriptions are super important. It's really important that I have these and that they're accurate so that people can understand what I'm saying. And yes, it is in fact part of video editing to make sure you have captions and transcripts. I want you to go ahead and drop a 13 in the chat. If you say, Elise, no, I don't think this is important. This isn't part of video editing. This isn't part of videos at all. I don't think it's something we need to worry about. I want you to drop a 14 in the chat and tell me why. All right, so we are now on number 8 of our 9 keys to editing your videos. Again, we're not talking about shorts, and that is a strong closing. So this is a key to editing your video because it is the final chance to get your viewers to plan to take action, tune in, and make a lasting impression. So what are we going to include in our closing? We're going to make sure we have a brief summary, a call to action, possibly a brand sign-off. So something like, I'm so glad we get to live our dreams together every single day. You'll hear me say that over and over again. It's because, well, first of all, it's true. I do believe that there's some power in us being able to do what it is that we want and be able to dream what it is that we want. And I'm super glad that we get to do that together. But also, it is just going to be something that people get used to, right? So what does our closing include? Brief summary, call to action, brand sign off. And why do we do it? Because it's going to increase engagement. It's going to increase subscribers, followers, email list. Again, the call to action can do all of these things for us. We want to make sure we're using our outro. So when we are doing our editing, we want to make sure we have a weak closing. No, a strong closing. Do not just let it ramble to the end. You need to make sure that there's a distinct closing, short and brief, because if your closing takes too long, guess what? They're going to click off. So you need it to be short, succinct. If you start rambling at the end of your video when you're doing your editing, that's the time to go in and fix it. All right. So if you are like, Elise, I understand a strong closing is super important. I want you to drop a 15 in the chat. If you're like, Elise, I don't understand what a strong closing is. I don't think it's important. It certainly has nothing to do with video editing. I want you to drop a 16 in the chat and tell me why. And we are finally on number 9. Who's ready for the last one? And we've talked about this a little bit throughout this video, and it is incredibly important, especially if you're posting on YouTube, because it's your last chance, your final chance to actually let people know something, and that is your end screen. So I want to talk a little bit about what your end screen is. This is a concept that can be hard for people to understand. So basically, you're going to make this templated thing that is like, hey, thanks for watching the video. And you're going to take that and you're going to edit it into the end of your actual video recording. And then when you go into YouTube, you're actually going to drop little squares and circles onto that part of your video that actually put clickable links that people can go to the next video, go to another playlist, and subscribe to your channel. And so this is really important because it is your absolute last chance to get them to do something else, to get them to stay on the platform and keep watching you, which of course watch time is really important. And if you actually are part of the YouTube Partner Program, once you have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, you can actually put a website link, which means they can actually click and go to your website and buy something or sign up for something without it having to be in your description or in a comment. And this is really important. So you can link to another video, you can link to a playlist, you can link to a subscribe button, you can link to your website link. And all of these things are going to help you with a variety of things depending upon which one you do. Increased watch time, increased engagement, increased subscribers, increased email list signups, increased purchases. And so your end screen is your last chance to really grab attention and really get them to take the next step and take action. So if you're like, Elise, I understand why I need to be adding an end screen to my videos, I want you to drop a 17 in the chat. And if you're like, I'm not so sure that's important, I want you to drop an 18 in the chat and then tell me why. All right, so we have all of that was just to get through step 1, which was to talk about the 9 keys to editing your videos. And those 9 keys included things about recording beforehand, about making sure you're editing properly in the middle. And if you have more questions about what tools to use, there's links in the description of this video that you can go and access. Descript is my favorite video editor, and I walk through exactly how to do all of these things in that editor in the YouTube link that is provided in the description of this video. So I know that that seems a bit overwhelming, and you're probably thinking, but Elise, this doesn't sound as easy as a dad joke at all, which is what you promised. And so I want to give you some things to help you get it done, and I'm really excited about one of these freebies because this is the first time I'm offering it. And that is actually the second thing listed on the list, which is, okay, so actually, sorry, you're gonna have to wait a second for that. First, I want to remind you that we're going to be talking about making money with YouTube. I double dog dare you to show up on Wednesday, May the 14th. There's a link in the description of this video to RSVP. This is one of those videos that every time I do it, people are kind of astounded about the different ways you can be making money, because sometimes we think really small and there's actually tons of ways. And so I highly recommend that you come and join me Wednesday, May 14th, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time in the Facebook group. There's a link to which you can go and join. The next thing I want to offer you is from Word Woes to Video Pro, the ultimate YouTube script for the tongue-tied. Now, before you get all excited about this, I want to tell you that there's something else coming that makes this even faster. But some of you are going to want to see what I actually recommend when it comes to scripting. So I'm going to actually share my screen so I can show you what this looks like. Screen. Share screen. And I'm going to share this one. Okay, so this is the download that you'll get if you go to the link that's in the description, which is myscheduledbiz.com/script, which now that I'm sharing my screen, you probably can't see this, but myscheduledbiz.com/script. It's also in the link in the description. And what you're going to get is you're going to get 2 files. One of those files is called YouTube schedule, and it's a very basic sheet where you can put the date of when you're going to record something, what speakers are going to be there, so if you're doing it by yourself with other people, the topic, and the date that you actually recorded it. So air date versus recording date. This is a very simple, basic idea of what you need to know when it comes to creating content for your channel. The second one is slightly complicated, but it's essentially how to write a script for yourself. And there's all sorts of directions here at the top, but if you scroll down, you'll kind of see. We've got a title, description, pin comment, social media post, some video links, channel keywords, video keywords, and I go into how to do these in the descriptions, hashtags, and then finally your script. Your script is going to start with a hook, promise of value, which we just discussed, an intro. I recommend having a question and then going into your key points, your engagements, engagement breaks, and then finally reminding them about the question and your outro, okay? So these are all pieces of creating a script. And you can certainly start with something like this and use it to help you create your script. But there have been some crazy advancements in AI lately, and I now have a system for you that will actually take you from no idea what to record to having an idea, getting a script, recording it, and scheduling it all in about 2 hours. And I know that this is the time frame because I've been doing this with my personal clients that are in the YouTube cohort. If you want more information about the YouTube cohort, you feel free to reach out to me or comment on this video and I'll talk to you about it. But this takes 2 hours to have no freaking clue what you're doing to being done and having it scheduled and gone. Now, some of you that might take a little more, some of you might take a little faster, but 2 hours is a pretty good ballpark to shoot for. And basically what you're going to do is you are going to get my ChatGPT. There's going to be a video that is going to walk you through how to use it, but I'm going to show you a little bit about it right now. So this is a 10-minute video creator that I've personally created for GPT. Now, so this is AI that's going to make your script. You are probably going to have to go in and make some tweaks to it as you go, especially since this is generic, right? So it doesn't know about you and your specific industry. I also offer custom creations where I actually train it on you. And then when it gives you your script, it's going to be even closer to what you would actually say. But this is something I'm giving away for free because I have gone to the script creators that all of these other people have made, and they are terrible. And so this is going to really help you. Now, the way that I set up my GPTs is you do not start by typing in the chat. You start by clicking one of my buttons. So depending upon what it is you want, that's where you're going to start. So if you want to create a 10-minute YouTube video script, if you want to craft 15 YouTube titles, if you want to suggest 15 simple physical activities or demonstrations that you can use to make your videos more interesting, or if you want 25 educational how-to video topics that you could be talking about, each of these buttons is going to deliver those specific things. And so you can get access to this completely for free by signing up. Again, that is going to be myscheduledbiz.com/GPT, because this is something you're going to use on ChatGPT. And it is going to allow you to get this completely for free so you can start doing scripting and video creation without having to stress. This is something I'm so incredibly proud to offer and so incredibly proud to be able to give to you, because I have seen firsthand exactly how much of a struggle it can be for, sorry, I was trying to stop the screen share. There we go. I know exactly how much of a struggle it can be to have to try and figure out how to do all these things, especially when you're first getting started. And even as someone who's more experienced, I've done thousands of videos. This has helped me so much just to like go and be done, and then I can make my tweaks and be finished and really know what's happening. So guys, that is the 2-hour YouTube AI your way from idea to done. So we've got From Word Woes to Video Pro. That is if you want to actually see what the script is going to contain. You've got the GPT that's going to actually frickin' do it for you. We've got Transcript as a video editor if you're looking for a video editor that you can use. And then the step-by-step tutorials on YouTube on how to use Transcript that I've created for you. And then we've got 2 more things. The next one is the Fearless Biz Owners Success Through Video and YouTube Facebook group. You're going to go to myschedulebiz.com/bizzers, or you can go to facebook.com/groups/msbizzers. Either way, it's going to take you to that group. And you might be watching this video in that group, or you might not. But go there because I drop new content every single day to help you with your YouTube videos. And I also give you threads, places where you can post your videos for others to look at. And that can help you reach the right people who might collaborate with you or just become viewers of your videos. And then the very last thing that I always like to make sure that I offer is to book a 15-minute YouTube coffee chat. So I set aside 6 time slots for these every single week so that I can help people understand how to use video and or YouTube best for their business. And these conversations are some of the things I look forward to the most because they're where I can make the most impact on what it is that you're actually doing. So if you haven't ever had one of these calls with me before, then please go book one. Let's have a seat. Let's talk about how I can help you get started on the right foot. Or if you already have a channel that you're trying to take to the next level, again, book one of these calls. Let's look at it and see what we can do to make your stuff better. If you've got any questions, drop those in the chat now. That is basically everything, guys. Those are your freebies. And we're moving now into the 3rd segment, which is questions. So far, I haven't seen anything pop up that was a specific question, but I'm just going to double check. If you have any questions about what we've covered today, which is editing for YouTube specifically, go ahead and drop those in the chat. But if you have questions about video, about how to use video best for your business, about anything at all like that, you are free to drop those questions in the chat as well. I'm going to go ahead and put up my banner for a moment, and I'll come back and check for questions in just a moment. If you don't have any questions, you can feel free to bounce at this point. I am so glad that we deliver dreams together every single day. And just a reminder, make sure you RSVP to come to Make Money with YouTube I Double Dog Dare You, which will be Wednesday, May the 14th, 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. I hope to see you there. Have a great night. I'm going to stick around for just a minute in case there's any questions.